Night shift is hard. It's really difficult. You are fighting against your own body clock in order to stay awake, and it's so difficult to sleep during the day. I understand that. I'm an ICU nurse that works night shifts. I also happen to be a competitive bodybuilder, and oftentimes in my last year of becoming a nurse, as I've just recently entered into a new grad program and have been a nurse for about a year, I've learned a lot along the way about what it means to work overnights and how it makes you feel and the kind of problems and things that you run into in the process. Today, we're going over 6 different steps that I take in my morning routine when I wake up after a night shift in order to be prepared for the rest of the day. I think this is a crucial topic to talk about for anyone that is going through some kind of long shift work or any type of hard, difficult labor that extends for over the typical 8-hour day. Even though a lot of these tips are going to be really great for those that are just wanting to get ahead in life, wanting to work hard, wanting to have energy. And you'll realize that a lot of these tips really apply to pretty much anyone. Make sure you stay till the end for a complete guide as to the products that really helped me stay in tune with my own body and be able to be the most productive I can be. All right, guys, so diving right in, like I said, as promised, we are going over 6 different steps to take in your morning routine, and this is specified for night shift nurses. And this is really going to transform your energy, your focus, and ultimately your performance, especially even after night shifts. Night shifts are hard and they're grueling, and having to be able to do things outside of your night shift is an important part of learning, is an important part of growing as a person. And so being able to learn how to do those things is very important. So diving into the first step is going to be light exposure. This is probably the most important step, especially for those that are working nights, because our body revolves around a 24-hour circadian rhythm clock. And what that really means is that our body is running on the time, whether we know it or not. It runs according to light, right? And so the way our body is able to sync up with time again, whenever we're trying to switch from night shift, say, to a day shift kind of schedule, it's important to get light immediately as you wake up. That's going to basically trigger your body to wake up and to understand that it's time to be up, it's time to be moving. And that idea, that initial exposure to light, allows you to actually be sleepy about 14 to 16 hours later. So it's crucial that you absolutely get this light as soon as you can, right? And so the fastest way to do that is really just to go outside. And the biggest thing for me is understanding and knowing that the amount of light it takes is 100,000 lux. And what that means is it's not just any light that you get from your lamps or the indoors. It's really the light that is from the sun. And so it's not going to work if it's through your car window. It's not going to work if it's through the window to your room. You really have to go outside and access the sunlight, right? And if you're driving your car, the best thing to do is probably roll down the windows and let the actual sun shine through. And yeah, that's probably going to be the most important step. And after implementing this alone, you will probably likely feel the difference. This single habit probably improved my sleep quality, my energy levels, and my mood more than anything else. You'd be surprised if this is something that you haven't tried yet, but it really is based upon science and allows your body to sleep when you're supposed to sleep and also wake up when you're supposed to wake up. Now, the second thing you're going to want to do is get salt and get water, right? An easy way to do this is just the night before, maybe leave a water bottle right next to your bed, right? The first thing I want you to do is just chug that water. For me, I fill up this huge, gigantic water bottle, and I pretty much drink as much of it until the point where, like you keep drinking water until it doesn't taste like water and tastes gross. Yeah, I just chug until I can't. And the reason being is that when you sleep, you lose about 1 to 2 pounds of water overnight. That's a big deal because it only takes 2% of dehydration, meaning 2% of the water under the level that you should be at, in order for you to impair cognition and performance, right? And so that's important because when you sleep, you aren't eating, you aren't drinking, obviously. And so it's so important to fill your body back up with those kind of water, those fluids that you didn't have during the night. And this is really what gets those processes moving. Our body is majority water, right? And so it needs water to survive. It needs water to exchange oxygen in order to function, right? And so that's going to play a big role in your mental clarity in the morning. That's going to play a big role in your ability to perform and do things and have energy throughout the day. Now, salt is another part of that, right? So water is obviously the key player, but salt is really what makes water rush into your cells effectively. If it weren't for salt, the water would just pretty much stay in your blood. Electrolytes such as potassium, and this is why it's really good to take electrolyte supplements. I'll leave some links in the description below, but it's important to have these electrolytes because they allow the water to really be absorbed into your body. And so they are a very important part of the morning routine. Going into our next step here. So step 3 is movement. Now, for a lot of you guys, you may already have a workout routine, which is great. But for those of you guys who don't, all it takes is really 10 to 15 minutes. And that might seem like a lot at first, but it really makes a world of a difference when it comes to feeling better. When our bodies were created to move. In order for someone painted the analogy one time for me is that like when you see water in a pond, right, you often see moss or some kind of fungus and things growing in the water. But when you look at a river, it's that water's clean, it's rushing down, it's going towards a destination, right? Our body's the same way. Our body's made up of 60-70% water, right? And so a lot of that is that we need to get our body moving. When that water is moving, it's much fresher, it's much healthier, right? And so you don't need a full workout, but 10 to 15 minutes just to wake up your nervous system, let your body know that it's time to wake up, it's time to move, get your blood flowing, right? An example of a simple circuit you can do is just 20 push-ups, 20 squats, and 20 sit-ups, right? And do that for 3 rounds. That it's just something as simple as that will get your heart rate going for sure. And finally, science says that increasing that core temperature, little typo here, core temperature and blood flow to the brain. Exercise also increases insulin sensitivity all day, which basically means that when you're eating carbs, when you're eating things like bread and pasta and rice, your body's able to manage this spike a lot better, right? And what we understand is that the more insulin sensitive you are, then the less likely you are to develop diabetes, which is something that I see in the hospital all the time. And so in order to get ahead of that, something that you can do is definitely exercise. And I really want to express that do whatever you can, right? Whether it's walking, stretching, or just jumping rope, right? Whatever it is that, maybe it could just be a walk, but whatever it is that gets you moving, consistency is the most important thing. If you're only able to do a workout once a week, that's only as good as that one time. But if you're able to do something small over the course of a few days, over the course of a few weeks, over a few years, then that's going to lead to a lot more long-term results. So that's something to keep in mind as you are forming your own morning routine. All right, so moving on to step 4 of 6. This is eating a protein-rich breakfast. Now, this one is something that I think a lot of people actually do really well. I think a lot of people are familiar with being able to, I think that the conversation about having more protein now is a lot more widespread. I think we talk a lot about making sure you eat enough, a gram of protein for your body weight. But this is just the idea. It's so important to have protein for a few reasons. Protein has the amino acid called tyrosine, and this amino acid is very important. And among the other amino acids that can be found in meat, that can be found in other things like legumes and things like that. And basically allows us to have motivation and focus for the rest of the day. So a lot of people don't think that, don't realize how important nutrition is to how we feel. They think that only bodybuilders or only people that exercise a lot need protein. And while it's true that those that exercise and those that work out a lot need more protein, the average person still needs a substantial amount of protein in order to function well, in order to promote mental health, in order to be motivated and focused throughout the day. And so you really are missing out if you're not having protein within the first 1 to 2 hours of your day, right? And what that looks like is about 30 to 40 grams to get you started on the right foot. And this leads to about 2 to 3 hours of stable energy, right? That's the important part. When you're waking up, you don't want any roadblocks in your morning, because your morning is so important to how the rest of your day is going to flow. If your morning is slow and groggy and you're not able to concentrate, then guess how the rest of your day is going to end up, right? We operate on momentum. So a lot of what we do in the beginning is going to affect what we do later on. And so all of these steps are meant to kind of allow you to build off each other. And so it's one after another. And, the protein part, it's important because it's brain fuel at the end of the day. It allows us to think, it allows us to do the work that we need to do. If you're in a night shift as a nurse, it's important to manage your time well. It's important to be efficient. And moving on to step 5, intentional planning. So this is one of the key aspects, I think, of my morning routine that I have never really talked in depth about. Maybe I'll make an in-depth video, but it's something basic that I do is I write on the top of my journal the top 3 things that I want to get done that day. So I'll actually show you right here in my journal. So what that kind of looks like for me is writing a to-do list. And for me, it looks like 1, 2, and 3. And the reason why I don't write more than 3 is because I rather overachieve than underachieve, right? It goes along with the idea of us understanding that our morning is such an important piece of the whole day. It allows us to set us up for either failure or set us up for success. And so when you're able to check things off your list, then that builds this sense of accomplishment that you're able to actually get things done. Right. And that's important because you're proving to yourself that I am a productive person. I am able to do what I say I will do. And so having these 3 non-negotiable, 1 allows you to be a lot more strict with your time. And 2 allows you to prioritize. And so you know exactly what you're going to start working on right away. After you wake up and after your morning routine is done, you can jump straight into these things. And this is typically something I like to write out the night before. Just a little pro tip, because it's so important for you to not have to worry about that when you wake up. You want to know exactly what you're going to do. And as soon as you finish your morning routine, these are the kind of things that you're going to jump into, right? The other thing is time blocking, right? So all of these things I typically do either on Sunday, I plan for the entire week, or I'll do on a daily basis at the end of the day, just preparing for the next day. But time blocking is essentially breaking down your time hour by hour. So the point of this is to eliminate any kind of decision fatigue, right? The point is for you to know that you're going to do this at this time, and exactly you're only allotting this much time to do that. And by the end of that time, you're going to be done with that task, and you're going to have time. I even time block meals and hanging out with people in the gym. I time block every single moment of my day. And maybe that's a little extreme, but that's how I'm able to get everything done. As an ICU nurse that works night shift, as someone who is a competitive bodybuilder, it's so important for me to really block out the time that I need to work out and to work and to rest, because those 3 things are the most important to me. And of course, managing family and having a social life on top of that. Number 3, like reviewing your bigger goals. Always reminding yourself of your why, right? It's so important. I think we often neglect that idea that it's so important to know why we're doing something, rather than just, it makes me money, or it gives me, X amount of benefits. But really asking yourself, does this bring me fulfillment? Is this something that I see myself doing for the long haul? I think those are important questions to ask as we think about how we're planning our day, because those things on our to-do list should be moving us towards closer and closer to that goal that we're after, right? And another thing I'd like to do is writing 3 gratitudes. Gratefulness and being grateful for the things we have is such a big part of the mental health conversation today. It's such a positive way to start your day. And as we'll talk about in probably other videos in this channel, a big part of success and accomplishment is being positive, is seeing things in a way that most people will see negative, but you turning that into something that you see as an opportunity for growth, as an opportunity for you to learn. Having a learner's mindset as opposed to a victim mindset. I think these ideas are so important in the world today that we often neglect how important it is to be just grateful for the things we have, And so I always write 3 things I'm grateful for every morning. In fact, I think that for every every item on your to-do list, you should have one thing that you're grateful for, because I love being able to match the amount of productivity I have to the amount of gratitude that I have. And I think that that's one of the best habits that I've developed over the years. If you don't plan your day plans you. So these 10 minutes of just intentional planning play such a key role into the rest of your day, allowing you to really be performative, allowing you to make sure that you're getting everything done that you have set out to get done. And finally, step 6, right? We're coming to the end here. I know this is probably what you guys have been waiting for me to talk about, and it's caffeine. So this conversation about coffee, about tea, when you should have it. So according to science, you should pretty much drink coffee or wait to drink coffee around 90 to about 2 hours after you wake up. And so we kind of talked about how this routine takes about an hour or so. So this is kind of your morning routine. If you're able to do all these things, expose yourself to light, make sure you're hydrated, make sure you have your electrolytes, and then making sure you're moving, getting exercise, making sure you're, able to eat the right things, having a high protein breakfast, and then being able to be productive. All these, plan for your day, all these things are going to probably take you about an hour. And by the end of that, that's probably around the time I'll start making a cup of coffee, or, being able to make something, make tea, make something with caffeine. What that looks like is, if you're waking up at 6 a.m., waiting until maybe close to 7:30 or even 8 a.m. to have your coffee. It's also important to understand that coffee tends to peak around an hour or so. So if you're trying to do deep work, at 9 a.m., then, having it at 8 a.m. is probably ideal, because that will prime your brain in order for that caffeine to peak at that time that you're doing work. The other idea is that if you're able to hold off on that caffeine, you're going to have a lot more stable energy. You're not going to feel that crash like we talked about, and you're actually going to get better sleep, because you're able to rest when that caffeine wears off, right? So as much as you don't want to have caffeine too early, you also don't want to have it too late. For me, the boundary that I tend to set is not having caffeine after probably around 12 p.m. the latest. So it's important for me to withhold from having any kind of caffeinated, no tea, no coffee, no energy drinks, even after 12, because the half-life of coffee tends to be 5 hours. And so 10 hours later, you're still having about a fourth of that caffeine in your body, just to keep that in mind. So some other things to also keep in mind during this time is that having coffee, right, immediately, you're going to end up needing more coffee. So, definitely just, if you're doing this delayed caffeine technique, you're not going to need as much. Just start with 1 cup and see how you feel, right? Even if you're used to drinking 3 or more cups, I swear you will see the difference, right? It's not going to take a lot. It's just going to take that quick adjustment. You're not going to feel the afternoon crash, right? You're going to feel more of a cleaner energy. You're not going to feel like the jitters, because your body actually is ready to take up that caffeine. And having immediate caffeine can also build your tolerance really quickly. And so delaying it allows you to, again, sleep better at night. All right, so finally coming on to the end here, pretty much the 1 hour morning routine, just to summarize, is your first 10 to 30 minutes, right? Get some light exposure. Get yourself exposed to sunlight, not just light through a window. Step 2, get hydrated, get electrolytes in your body because that's what allows your body to absorb the hydration. Step 3, definitely get moving, have an exercise routine. All it takes is 10 to 15 minutes. Keep it short, keep it sweet. Protein breakfast, right? This is an important part of the morning routine that most of you guys actually do well, but make sure you're consistent with it, having 30 to 40 grams during that meal. And also, step 5 is intentional planning. So making sure that you're writing down the 3 most important wins you want to make that day. Make sure you're writing 3 things that you're grateful for, making sure you're planning for what you're going to do and being aligned with your why, right? Remind yourself of what you're doing, why you're doing what you're doing. And finally, delaying caffeine. So by the end of that routine, which should take about 60 minutes, just wait about 90 to about 2 hours to sustain the energy, about 90 to 2 hours to have that first cup of coffee. That's definitely going to help you have less of a crash. And yeah, that's what I'll leave you guys off with. Take control of your mornings, take control of your life, right? The time that you spend in the morning is so critical to how the rest of your day is going to go. You really want to make sure that you have this part of your life down so that you're able to set yourself up for success for the rest of the day. And so, yeah, do this. Start tomorrow, pick 2 to 3 of these steps and just build consistency. If you're not doing any of these, it's going to take a lot of work for you to integrate all of these at once tomorrow. So what I would do if I was starting from scratch is just having 2 to 3 steps that I'm focused on. And, once you get those down, you can always add more. Alright guys, so as promised, I have a few product recommendations for you guys. One of them is going to be the Philips Smart Sleep. I'll include, actually I have it right here with me. If you see right here, I actually use this. And it's pretty much a alarm clock that has built-in smart features that allow it to mimic basically a sunrise. So it's a sunrise simulator as well as a sunset simulator. And the purpose of it is essentially to allow you to really go into deep sleep in more of a natural way, the way you would if you were to naturally see the sun. And this has been such a game changer for me in my routine because it's allowed me honestly to really have access to light even during times when I'm getting off night shift, when it's bright and I want that sundown effect, but the sun is already up, or I'm trying to sleep during the day and it's or I'm waking up during the night to go to work, but it's dark already, and so I can utilize the sunrise simulator. Another piece of useful recommendation I would recommend is actually the electrolytes. The electrolytes I will link all the links I describe will be in the description below, so you don't have to worry about looking for them. And I will say that all the links I do get a small portion of, if you do decide to choose to buy through those links, it does really help support the channel. So I do appreciate you guys in advance for doing that. But the next product I would recommend is the Ultima Replenisher Daily Electrolyte. So this product right here is amazing. It pretty much includes 6 essential electrolytes that has everything you need. What I do is essentially take a scoop every morning. It's in my kitchen. And I just drink that down, usually with some creatine, and that's a great start to my day. I feel you'll absolutely feel the difference right from the get-go. You'll feel much more energized, you'll feel much more strong, and you'll feel like you can definitely tackle on the rest of your day. The next product recommendation I would make is a few protein powders. The first one being this one from Nutrilite. Nutrilite is an amazing brand. They, I believe, are sold through Amway. but it's a multi-billion-dollar company essentially. But Nutrilite is very particular about how they source their produce, and their whole line is essentially organic. And what they do is intentionally create supplements and vitamins and all these different things that are related to your health that have a very high quality of standard. And so this is the one I like to use. It's unflavored, allows you to cook with it. You could pretty much use it in any other kind of recipes you like. There's also another product that they sell, which are their sports protein shakes. That one's a lot easier to take. You don't have to mix it with water. It just comes ready to go out of the box. So those two are really great, awesome products that I have used in the past. The next one is Notebook. A notebook is one of the most important tools to my day. When we're talking about planning, when we're talking about how we are able to utilize, writing our top 3 non-negotiables, writing, what 3 things we're grateful for. I think the journal comes in handy. This is my journal of choice. It's a little pricier, but I do love the hardcover. I love the pages. You can spill water on it and it's still fine. They hold ink really well. They don't bleed, and it's just a quality notebook in your hand that you can feel and use every time you put pen to that paper. It just really increases that experience. It also comes with labels and page numbers and a table of contents, which is really, really nice. And the final product that I would recommend is this. I don't actually own this, but I saw that it was a really great product. It's a gratitude journal, and I know we talked about gratitude, but if it's something that you personally struggle with, if you personally struggle with having gratitude, then something that you can do is buy one of these journals and be able to have more of a prompt when it comes to journaling about your gratitude. And I find that that's, some that could be really helpful for somebody that may not be, have gratitude as built into their daily life. And so it's just a great way to kind of sit down and reflect and journal throughout your day, whatever time that you are able to set aside. So there you have it. Definitely will be making another video possibly on nighttime routines as a night shift nurse. But let me know if you're interested in it. Definitely leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Definitely helps to grow the channel. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Peace.